360. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date. Let's look at the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank. Nero Prime Water.
Tonight, teacher unions, NAT, NAGRAT and PTTAG gave government a 1-week ultimatum to conclude negotiations on their conditions of service.
And also coming up tonight, retired Supreme Court Judge William Atuguba calls for integrity, humility and principled leadership in public service.
And later in the bulletin, tomato price soar nationwide as traders blame rains and middlemen while consumers struggle with rising cost of essential food items.
Later in business news, Bank of Ghana insists on December 2026 deadline for rural banks to complete transition to community banks under a major financial sector reform.
On the international front, Uganda discharges the last Ebola patient as the country begins 42-day countdown toward being declared free of the deadly virus. It's a packed bulletin. You can join us on our social media streams, Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. We'll be happy to hear from you.
Let's begin with the labor front, where leadership of 3 teacher unions has given government a 1-week ultimatum to conclude negotiations on their expired conditions of service. The unions say a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission ended without an agreement, raising fears of possible industrial unrest if negotiations are not concluded promptly. Our labor correspondent Daniel Opoku has more.
3 weeks ago, the leadership of the Ghana National Association of Teachers (NAT), the National Association of Graduate Teachers (NAGRAT), and the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana (PRETAC) petitioned the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over delays in renewing their expired conditions of service. Among their key demands are the promotion of qualified teachers and the implementation of 20% deprived area allowance for teachers serving in disadvantaged communities. On Thursday, July 16, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission convened a meeting with the unions in an attempt to resolve their outstanding issues. However, the negotiations ended inconclusively. The Commission informed the unions that it would seek a fresh mandate from the government before returning to the negotiating table next week. The outcome of the meeting left the teacher unions dissatisfied, with leaders accusing the government of delaying the process. King Ali Audu is president of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana (PRETAC).
We are still giving the government a long rope, having diplomatic engagement with the government, speaking softly to them. But they should know that deadline ends tomorrow, and we are giving additional 1 week as they have requested today from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We do not want to hear different stories and the issues on the table not being tackled. If it so happens again next week, government might have itself to blame.
General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Tanko Musa, urged the government to negotiate in good faith to avoid escalating tensions.
Trust, when given to you by somebody voluntarily, you must cherish it such that tomorrow when you come speaking, the person will believe you. But where we are now, it looks like that trust is on the verge of collapsing. And when that trust collapses, then what is left will be agitations and other, means and tools for people to get what they want.
President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Jacob Anaba, says the patience of teachers across the country is wearing thin and called for an urgent resolution to the impasse.
The story we are getting is hurting because they are telling us that we are too many. So the budget cannot take it. So we have to close many schools down and sacked many teachers from the schools. So we have few teachers that we can take care of. So we are asking that the president must make sure that he directs his ministers. They should do the right thing.
The three teacher unions say they remain committed to dialogue but insist that any further delay beyond next week could trigger nationwide industrial action, potentially affecting teaching and learning across the country.
And news just coming in indicates that the Weija Children's Hospital is set to open to the public after an agreement between the Ministry of Health and Aweko Construction Limited was brokered by the Economic and Organized Crime Office (EOCO) over the handover of the facility. In a press statement dated the 16th of July 2026, EOCO said that the agreement would allow the Ministry of Health to take over the hospital and begin healthcare services. The parties agreed that the completed facility should be handed over and made operational without further delay in the interest of the public. According to the statement, the deal was reached despite outstanding issues surrounding the project, including claims by the contractor over unpaid sums and concerns raised by the project's financier about procurement processes and related matters. However, EOCO added that its investigations into the allegations of procurement breaches, financial impropriety, and other related matters concerning the project remain ongoing.
In more news tonight, the Narcotics Control Commission, NACOC, has arrested 3 people over an attempted importation of about 5 million Tramadol tablets valued at an estimated 100 million cedis. The suspects were picked up during an intelligence-led operation at the Accra International Airport. The Narcotics Control Commission says the suspects were arrested after officers intercepted a shipment believed to contain the illicit pharmaceutical drug at the Accra International Airport. The Commission estimates the seized consignment contains about 5 million Tramadol tablets with a street value of about 100 million cedis. Investigators believe the shipment was intended for distribution within Ghana and possibly across the sub-region. NACOC says preliminary investigations suggest the seizure may be linked to a wider drug trafficking network, with efforts ongoing to identify other suspects connected to the operation. The recovered Tramadol tablets have been secured as evidence while forensic and documentary examinations continue.
Let's shift to one of our headline stories that we have for you, and many of you have already been complaining about it on social media and on other networks, and tomato prices have skyrocketed, with traders blaming the rainy season and the activities of middlemen. Beatrice Ajokosoa has been monitoring the situation and reports.
Families across the country say they are being priced out of one of the most essential food ingredients, tomatoes. Traders deny responsibility, insisting that tomatoes are out of season and in short supply. They say a basket that once sold for 200 Ghana cedis now costs 800 Ghana cedis.
There are 2 types of tomatoes on our markets. I bought the one from Ghana at 4,500 Ghana cedis for a small box. The one from Navrongo is 9,000 Ghana cedis per box, and I ran at losses.
Others point to heavy rains that have disrupted cultivation, leaving farmers with little to harvest.
Most farms were flooded due to the rains, and a lot of crops were destroyed. The harvest this year was scanty, but the demands are high.
If it's not the rain, but by this tomato is there. But because of the rain, the way the rain, that's why.
Trader blames middlemen for the sharp increase in prices.
When they go, the price they sell it to them. If the price is cost too much, boys also is there. The one who go take it and put inside the car. You give her money. Then one day tear the tomatoes. All expensive. You pay the small expensive. And the lorry fare too. That's why the price is going up.
A customer, Essien, recalls buying tomatoes in the Volta region and in Sawam, saying the rising cost has become unbearable.
Just this two is 5 cedis from the village that I have been going. In the Volta region, somewhere around the Dabala area there. When they add the third one, you will get the same 5 cedis in Sawam. But for Kadeshi, it's just like the Volta price. The prices are such that we just can't afford.
Meanwhile, Janet Latte, who sells garden eggs and okra, says the high prices have persisted for 5 months, with a sack of garden eggs now selling for between 2,000 Ghana cedis and 3,000 Ghana cedis.
Because of
During the rainy season, the plants get destroyed. That's why okra and garden eggs are expensive.
Even as ginger prices ease slightly, traders insist government support is vital to cushion farmers and help stabilize food prices.
25. But on 25,
a sack used to be 2,500 Ghana cedis or less, but now it is expensive. Let us patronize our own and ban the imports.
Today, a box of tomatoes sells for more than 10,000 Ghana cedis. Buckets cost between 100 Ghana cedis and 350 Ghana cedis, while just 4 tomatoes sell for 20 Ghana cedis. As these high prices persist, how much longer can consumers endure the rising cost before basic food items become a luxury? Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, Cabinet's decision to restore the Achimota forest to its full protected status has been welcomed as an important step towards preserving one of Accra's most important remaining green spaces. But beyond this announcement, questions remain about the level of encroachment, development already established around the reserve, and the extent of ecological damage caused over the years.
Revocation of Executive Instrument 144 as amended by Executive Instrument 234.
I'm happy to announce a historic cabinet decision taken on the 24th of June 2026 to revoke Executive Instrument EI 144 as amended by EI 234, effectively ensuring that the Achimota forest retains its original status as a forest reserve and providing ecological safety zone for Accra and its environments.
The government says restoring the forest's protected status will help preserve its ecological value and environmental benefits. The move will improve air quality, conserve biodiversity, and support stormwater management in flood-prone Accra. Environmental advocates, however, say the legal decision is only the beginning of what will be required to restore the forest.
We are happy that EI 144 has revoked, but that doesn't mean that there's not much more to be done. Much more needs to be done if we are going to rescue Ghana from the verge of an ecological catastrophe.
Restoring the protected status will not automatically replace trees already lost or address encroachment concerns. Environmental advocate Darrell Bosu says the revocation of the instrument gives the Forestry Commission greater authority to control encroachment and begin restoring degraded portions of the reserve.
It does not automatically restore the degraded areas, but gives the Forestry Commission now full powers to now control and manage encroachment on the area and take steps to restore the entirety of the forest reserve. And this is for us very, very significant. Without the revocation of EI 44, there was no way the Forestry Commission was going to be able to take steps to restore the forest reserves and deal with encroachment and also all the other interests that people had in this area. So this decision eventually is going to enable them.
He also warns that weak enforcement remains a major threat to the forest.
Ghana, we have serious challenges with enforcement and compliance. And even in situations where the law is very what needs to be done, we most of the time are not able to enforce the law comprehensively. So people still get away with encroachment and also with a lot of development that eventually hinder what we seek to do in respect of sustainable development. So I believe that going forward, the Policy Commission needs to really pay attention.
The success of Cabinet's decision will depend not only on revoking the instrument, but also on preventing further encroachment, reclaiming degraded portions, and restoring the forest's ecological value.
In more news this evening, President John Dramani Mahama has announced the clearance for recruitment of 16,000 nurses to be employed in 2 batches to clear the backlog of unemployed personnel in the health sector. He, however, notes that the nurses must avail themselves to underserved areas where healthcare needs are greatest. He announced this as part of his 2-day Resetting Ghana tour of the Volta region. A report by Komala Kluche.
The president's first port of call was the North Tone constituency, where he cut short for the construction of a 24-hour market in Japan, noting that his priority of revamping the textile factory has yielded fruition.
And one of the things somebody asked was where we're going to get the cotton to spin. Arrangements are being made to sign a memorandum of understanding with the government of Benin to supply us with cotton from Benin to feed the factory in Ghana. Very soon, the transaction advisor is bringing the strategic investor to visit the factory and start the design for modernizing the factory.
Praised the efforts of the foreign minister, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who has led a strong push on the president's foreign policy. The president then moved to the Peki Training College, where he inspected the progress of work on an assembly block where the Minister of Education announced some major policy decisions.
Dramani Mahama, under his presidency, is considering establishing a national university for teacher education with Peki as the capital of that national teacher university.
He then moved to inspect the progress of work on a 177-kilometer Big Push Road from Asikuma and Nyarawa City Trinum to Ziope Road, where there are 4 lots with contractors reaching various stages of construction.
Every contractor on Big Push, except in Volta region, except the Havehohwe, is ahead of schedule currently. It will not be surprising that the first project you take over and hand over to the people as part of your dream of Big Push, 2 of them at least will be in Volta region. And that can happen before the end of the year, from Aflau all the way through Georgia.
The president noted that the Big Push has provided real employment to citizens.
It is estimated that with the current projects that we're doing, at least 300,000 direct and indirect jobs have been created. Direct are those who are working directly on the projects. Indirect are the food sellers who are selling to them, the quarries that are producing the rock for them, the filling stations that are providing them with the fuel, the cement distributors that are selling cement, the iron rod distributors that are selling iron rods. If you take all that together, we estimate that about 300,000 jobs have been created just because of this.
He then proceeded to the University of Health and Allied Sciences, where he inspected a multi-purpose laboratory project on the UHA Sokode campus. The president's final call for the day was the Home Municipal Hospital, where he took part in a free primary health care Durban. Health Minister Kwabena Mintara Kando expressed happiness at the success of the program, which has received the WHO attention and citizens' response. The president announced that government will continue investing in health infrastructure and providing the facilities needed to improve healthcare delivery.
Now we're giving him clearance to open the portal to absorb 16,000 nurses in 2 batches. The first batch is 8,000, the second batch is 8,000. So that by the time my daughters and sons who are waiting to complete training camp, there will be a shorter queue before they are posted. But the caveat we are giving is most of those that we're employing now we are sending you to underserved areas.
He then presented items to the hospital for medical care in the municipality. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Ho.
From the Volta region, a retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice William Atuguba, has called for a return to integrity, humility, and principled leadership in Ghana's public life. Now delivering the Justice D.F. Annan Memorial Lecture in Parliament, Justice Atuguba paid glowing tribute to the late statesman, describing him as a model public servant whose commitment to justice and the rule of law remains unmatched.
Atuguba described Justice Daniel Francis Annan as a man of quality, dedication, principle and integrity. He said Justice Annan distinguished himself as a lawyer, judge, legislator and member of the executive with a strong commitment to the welfare of his countrymen. Justice William Atuguba contrasted Justice Annan's judicial record with what he described as declining standards in sections of the judiciary and parliament.
I see this parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever for the time being is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. Well, the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost. There are some people who are good politicians and of the mindset of Justice Annan.
Turning to politics, Justice Atuguba lamented what he described as increasing partisanship and the pursuit of political office for personal gain.
The standards set by Justice Annan, set against the happenings of today, and officialdom, and the general public, it's rather troubling. Because I think truth engenders good results. Manipulation, opportunism, maneuvering, connections. These things pull a nation down. And everybody is bound to suffer from it in one way or the other.
Justice William Atuguba urged today's public officials, lawyers and judges to study the lives and judgments of distinguished legal figures such as Justice D.F. Annan and Justice Azukrab. He said Ghana's future depends on restoring integrity, courage and fidelity to the Constitution.
On to some other stories now. The Trades Union Congress has expressed strong opposition to government's proposed re-establishment of regional tribunals. Addressing a news conference, the Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, called for the immediate withdrawal of the regional tribunals bill.
The TUC is manifestly opposed to the idea of resuscitating tribunals, given our collective bitter experiences with tribunals. The tribunals bill in its current shape and form strengthens our conviction that tribunals must be abandoned. The bill, when passed into law, can be a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery and entrench the perception held by many that our justice system is up for grabs by the politicians. We call on the President and Parliament to heed the advice of the Constitution Review Committee, and government must halt the current legislative process of enacting the tribunals bill, expunge regional tribunals from the Constitution, and take meaningful steps to properly resource our judiciary. If law is properly seen as an embodiment of our collective historical experience, then the recent history of public tribunals must lead us away from any attempt to re-establish regional and district tribunals. The bill must be withdrawn from Parliament.
Solidarity forever.
Let's now go to the courts where lawyer for the former CEO of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited have expressed disappointment at the High Court for failing to give orders for the passport and money belonging to Hanan Aludiba to be returned to him. Earlier, the Deputy Attorney General withdrew an application seeking to revoke the permission the court granted the former NAFCO CEO to travel to London to seek medical treatment. Lord Idwasari reports.
Attorney General Dr. Justice Ramsai, leading the prosecution, attempted to move the motion on Thursday, July 16, but was stopped in his tracks after the judge indicated that the leave granted the accused had elapsed. The application followed Hanan Abdul Wahab's arrest on July 4 as he attempted to travel after obtaining permission from the court to leave the country for medical treatment. The prosecution alleged that he had attempted to withdraw money from a frozen bank account and intended to abscond. Justice Achibonga noted that the permit granted was from July 4 to 12, after which the accused was to return the passport to the registry on July 14. He affirmed that although the application to revoke the order was filed before it elapsed, the date of the hearing had rendered the motion moot. Dr. Justice Ramsai then prayed for leave to withdraw the motion, after which the court struck it out as withdrawn. Godfrey Eboadame, lead counsel for the ex-NAFCO CEO Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba, then sought orders from the court to have Hanan's passport and £6,700 seized by the state to be returned to his client, but the judge directed them to pursue the matter formally. Dami spoke after the court proceedings.
The court is not interested in ensuring a compliance with the order for the passport to return to the court. I do not mind. We will not make any application at all to the court for any passport release. It's up to the court. At the appropriate time, when there's a need for him to travel, we'll make an application to the court for him to travel. I mean, they ought to know what to do and to do the right thing. The Republic must not be pleased all the time. It's about time the Republic be called to order.
Together with his wife Faiza Saidowuni, Hanan Abdul Wahab Aludiba has been charged with stealing, causing financial loss to the state, and money laundering. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Let's let you know what's happening regarding the weather for the next 24 hours.
Weather News segment is brought to you by Syntex Tank.
We have business news coming up shortly. Don't go away.
Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on News 360 with me, Menu Afol. The Bank of Ghana has maintained that all rural banks must complete their transition into community banks by December 31st, 2026, as part of reforms aimed at modernizing the sector and expanding access to finance. Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama reiterated the directive at the launch of the 50th anniversary of rural banking in Ghana.
The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, said the deadline is non-negotiable, with all institutions expected to complete their statutory name changes, corporate rebranding, and regulatory alignments before the end of the year.
By the end of this year, all existing banks must complete their statutory name changes, their corporate rebranding, and of course, other regulatory alignments by the end of this year.
The event was attended by the Deputy Finance Minister, Thomas Nyako Amping, senior officials of the Bank of Ghana, rural bank executives, and development partners. According to the Deputy Finance Minister, the transition from rural banks to community banks will deepen financial inclusion, accelerate digital banking, and drive inclusive economic growth.
We often think of roads as engines of development because they connect communities. Community banks are the local roads of our financial system. They may not always be the biggest institutions, but they reach places and people who drive the economy.
Away from that, government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu has made a passionate appeal to the Ministry of Finance to adjust the Ghana Statistical Service's annual budget ceiling to cater for maintenance and running costs of its building. The call was made during the handover of the former Ministry of Finance building to its original owners, the GSS, ending the ministry's 50-year tenancy.
From many quarters that when we were here, we did not pay rent. I've heard that. But I want to correct the records. Maybe we did not pay rent. Maybe. But yourself, you did not pay utilities. And so we paid the utilities on your behalf. And we use that to offset the rent. So we do not owe you at all.
Speaking at the official handing over ceremony of the facility, Dr. Idrisu highlighted that block resolves a critical long-standing space deficit.
This block brings utilities, maintenance, and refurbishment. And we know refurbishment for a structure of this age is not a small line. These are recurring costs, not one-time ones. So our respectful ask, Honorable Minister, is this. Let our annual budget ceiling be adjusted to carry them. If the ceilings stays where it is, we risk using survey and fieldwork money to maintain the building, and we don't want to do that.
The GSS has committed to producing comprehensive data on food security and unemployment across all 261 districts in Ghana before the end of 2026.
District-level multidimensional poverty exercise you launched for us. Honorable Minister, it received such a resounding attention. And from key stakeholders, they would want that on food insecurity and unemployment as well. Fortunately, we've done some works in these areas, and the technology and methodology we have is able to make us do so.
Finance Minister Dr. Kasila Tuforson challenged the Ghana Statistical Service to develop a reliable methodology to produce and publish job and employment figures on a half-yearly or quarterly basis.
Be able to announce the employment numbers so that I will be assessed by an independent person, independent institution of state, whether the decisions we take are yielding the results that we need. Because growth must create jobs.
GSS thanked government for releasing 140 million cedis of the 207 million cedis budgeted for CPI and GDP rebasing, while urging continued funding to maximize its capacity.
We'll take your attention now to the Energy and Green Transition Minister John Jinapor, who says the Tema Oil Refinery is expected to receive 1 million barrels of crude oil from Ghana's Jubilee oil field today. The delivery follows a similar supply to the Central Oil Refinery, which analysts say could strengthen Ghana's energy security by increasing domestic refining capacity.
At the GIBCON 2026, Dr. Jinapor said the government was committed to reviving the fortunes of the refinery, which has faced years of financial losses and operational challenges.
Our own Tema Oil Refinery is taking another 1 million barrels from our own fields to process. And that, for me, tells you what leadership can do. Because when we assumed office, Tema Oil Refinery was being given out. It was being given out for $22 million. The refinery had not published its financials for 9 years. Today, I can report to you that not only have we published all the financials for the years, the refinery is making profit way in excess of the $22 million.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Dr. Patrick Ofori, has called for increased government investment in infrastructure to support the efficient distribution of petroleum products.
These investments will improve supply reliability, lower logistics costs, create jobs, stimulate industrialization, strengthen Ghana's energy security, and ensure efficient means of transporting petroleum products across the length and breadth of the country, and then also to even our neighboring countries.
CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Eduji Tamaklo, underscored the need to build a robust downstream petroleum sector amid global developments.
The challenges before us is not simply to adopt, is to build a downstream petroleum industry that is resilient enough to withstand external shocks, innovative enough to embrace emerging technologies, and attractive enough to mobilize investment required for growth.
Let's now take a look at how the cedi is faring against other trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market. And that's it for Business Tonight on News 360. I am Benu Afu. We have more news updates coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
Let's do some sports here on News 360. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Football has a unique way of bringing stories full circles. 19 years after a chance meeting during a charity event, Lionel Messi and Lamine Yamal are set to face each other in the FIFA World Cup final. My colleague Rabi Edweji tells their remarkable story.
Football has a way of creating stories that seem impossible to believe. Back in 2007, a 20-year-old Lionel Messi took part in a Barcelona charity calendar organized with UNICEF and Diario Sport. Families were selected through a lottery, and by pure chance, Messi was paired with 6-month-old Lamine Yamal and his mother for a photo shoot at Camp Nou. One of the photographs showed Messi gently bathing the baby. At the time, it was just another charity event. No one could have imagined they were witnessing the meeting of two generations of football greatness. 17 years later, those images resurfaced as Yamal emerged as one of the brightest young stars in world football. His father, Munir Nasraoui, shared one of the photos with the caption, quote, "The beginning of two legends," end quote. Today, that baby has become Spain's biggest football sensation. After making his Barcelona debut at just 15 years old, Yamal has already won multiple La Liga titles and helped Spain become European champions. Meanwhile, Messi has gone on to build one of the greatest careers in football history, winning 8 Ballon d'Or awards, countless trophies, and leading Argentina to World Cup glory. Now, destiny has brought them together once again. On Sunday at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, Lionel Messi's Argentina will face Lamine Yamal's Spain in the FIFA World Cup final. The man who unknowingly held a future superstar in his arms now stands between him and football's greatest prize. From a charity photo shoot to the biggest stage in world football, it is a story that reminds us why football is more than just a game. It's a storybook where dreams, destiny, and generations collide.
19-year-old Lamine Yamal will be coming up against 39-year-old Messi on Sunday, and that game will be live on TV3. Let's move on. Black Stars midfielder Kwesi Sipo has opened up on his 2026 FIFA World Cup experience. The former Real Oviedo man made 4 appearances for Ghana at his debut World Cup, racking up 249 minutes. Speaking to 3 Sports in an exclusive interview, he described the game against England as his best.
Game, like a lot of people were happy that when I came in, things started going well with the team. They said there was stability on the field, this and that, and they are hoping that I can start the second game against England.
Yeah.
And I told them something like, "Yeah, I'm someone who loves challenge.
Mm-hmm.
If the coach is willing to put me in that game, I will give everything for the nation. Mm-hmm. As always, that I'll try my best. It's not like I'm a player who will be on the field and only thinking about my individual qualities, holding the ball, doing this and that. Sometimes the sacrifice came from, if you are not having the ball, are you running for the team?
Yeah.
Are you closing spaces for the team? Are you helping your colleague? So you see, when the last training session at we were camping at
in Providence, Brown University.
In Providence, our last training session. I remember when he made a team, then I saw that I would start that game. So like, oh, I'm gonna face big midfielders.
At the World Cup, what do you think was the best game that you played for Ghana, personally?
I would say the England game. Yeah, I would say the England because the rec rate was very high. The kilometers on the field, the rec rate, like covering spaces, was very, very high. So I think against the England game.
Sibo spoke to Michael Otiej. The World Cup will continue on TV3. Saturday there would be a game, and on Sunday the final would be between Spain and Argentina. It will be live on this channel as well. That's all by way of sports here on News 360. My name is Mutala Yakubu.
Entertainment.
Good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will come to a spectacular conclusion on Sunday, July 19, with football and music taking center stage at the New York, New Jersey Stadium, that's the MetLife Stadium in the United States. Before the much-anticipated final between Spain and Argentina, fans will be treated to a star-studded closing ceremony featuring some of the biggest names in global entertainment. American rapper and singer Post Malone has been confirmed as the headline performer for the FIFA World Cup 2026 closing ceremony. He'll be joined by British pop icon Robbie Williams, Italian singer Laura Pausini, American singer Nicole Scherzinger, and Grammy-winning vocalist Jennifer Hudson, who is expected to perform the United States national anthem ahead of kickoff. The ceremony will also feature appearances from Hollywood superstars Tom Cruise and internet sensation iShow Speed, adding even more glamour to what is expected to be one of the biggest sporting spectacles of the year. FIFA says the ceremony has been designed to celebrate the success of the first ever 48-team FIFA World Cup. Now to some more stories. Nigerian Afrobeat superstar Burna Boy is set to make history as one of the headline performers at the first ever FIFA World Cup final halftime major global Ghanaian music has received another major international recognition, with several of the country's top artists earning nominations at the 2026 African Music Magazine Awards, that's AFRIMA. Leading Ghana's representation is Black Sheriff, who secured multiple nominations across major categories. The award-winning artist earned nods for Best Male West Africa, Best Male Rap Act, Artist of the Year, Song of the Year for So It Goes, and Album of the Year for Iron Boy. Other Ghanaian talents recognized in this year's nominations include Sarkodie, Shatawale, Molly, Dope Nation, and producer MOG Beats, reflecting the diversity and growing influence of Ghana's music industry. The recognition comes at a time when Ghanaian artists continue to expand their global footprint, with genres such as Afrobeat, hip life, and rap gaining increased attention on international platforms. And that'll be all for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Thank you so much, Noella. On the international front, Uganda discharged its last remaining Ebola patient on Thursday, triggering a 42-day countdown, after which it can be declared free of the virus. Uganda has confirmed a total of 20 cases of the rare Bundibugyo strain of Ebola since mid-May. 15 of those were people infected in neighboring DR Congo, the epicenter of the outbreak, who then traveled to Uganda.
And that's it for our package this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu-Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a lovely evening.
Bye for now.